Hi, this is Say It in English Tips, episode number 10. In today's show, we're going to talk about reading improvement. Why is it important to talk about reading improvement? Well, when we read, we usually have more control over our content. The ideas in a piece of writing follow certain order and have been carefully chosen and edited. On the other hand, spontaneous speech requires to organize our ideas while we're on our way to say something. When you read, your content is already there. The only challenge is just reading it. Reading helps us to be attentive not on the content, but on the way we articulate words. Proper articulation is a must. The message has to be delivered with clarity. We're not worried about the content because it is already there, but on the delivery form. What is the best way to deliver our message when we read? Of course, the point number one is the delivering of our message with a natural tone. We sound natural when we use the proper sounds of English. This requires an intensive training. But if you master the articulation of consonants and vowels, you should take the next level in the development of your English spoken skills. To acquire a natural tone. How to acquire a natural tone when we read in English if English is not our mother tongue? The answer is reading by using thought groups. Believe it or not, native speakers of English organize intuitively their speaking in certain chunks of language that have pauses in between. This is more noticeable, for example, if the speaking style is slow. One remarkable example is this fragment taken from the presenter in the Bills Gate speech given in Harvard University in June 7, 2007. Notice how every chunk of a speech has no more than 3 stressed words. Sometimes a thought group has just 1 stressed word, or frequently 2, but no more than 3.
Our next speaker, first known as the entrepreneur of the personal computer revolution, was named by Time magazine as one of the 100 people who most influenced the 20th century, as well as one of the 100 most influential people of 2004, 2005, 2006, and again in 2007.
Now, let's listen to Bill Gates. The same phenomenon occurs. He also speaks using thought groups, or chunks of words separated by pauses. Pauses can be short, but sometimes indistinguishable.
I've been waiting more than 30 years to say this. Dad, I always told you I'd come back and get my degree. I want to thank Harvard for this honor. I'll be changing my job next year, and it will be nice to finally have a college degree on my resume.
Notice the blue arrows present at the end of every thought group. They represent tones. The most common tone used in utterances or pieces of speech that have not arrived to a completion are the full rise. They tell us that the utterance is not finished yet and that there is much more to say. On the contrary, when we want to express completion, or that we have already completed our message, we use a rise-fall tone. Note, something very interesting to underline here is that the fall-rise tone of native speakers of English is not so high in pitch, but little. Native speakers of Spanish tend to produce a higher pitch level at the end of this tone. The next graphic represents the waveform with its corresponding pitch movement of both a native speaker of English and a Spanish speaker trying to imitate the native's utterances. Notice the fall-rise tone in the pink section. The rise of the pitch is lower in the native speaker of English version than in the Spanish speakers. We have to learn not to go so high when performing a fall-rise tone. Okay, but our topic in today's podcast is how to get naturalness in reading. Let's review it. First of all, we need to intuitively divide the text into short chunks of speech. Every chunk of speech is a unit called thought group. Native speakers of English use them all the time. Next is to use a fall-rise tone at the end of every thought group. If you haven't completed your message, introduce a rise-fall tone once you completed it. By doing this, you will master reading by learning how to use thought groups. Later, you can take a further and more complex practice, spontaneous speech, but using thought groups. In matter of fact, using thought groups in your daily reading practice will help you to develop more natural speaking abilities during spontaneous speech. That's it for today's show. This is Say It in English Tips, sponsored by Say It in English. Your improved pronunciation is waiting for you. Bye-bye.